This video is sponsored by War Thunder. As a casual Rust player myself, I love designing bases that don't break the bank on resources, but are easy to build. The Snowball, my newest base design, checks all of these boxes, and tons more. And after the recent bunker nerf, I realized I had to go back to the basics with a bunker that would never get patched. Whether I'm playing solo or in a small group, this cozy base comes together super easily, and the build steps make it simple for a casual player to get this down over the course of the wipe. And after reading so much positive feedback from you guys about my past base build, the Trove, I decided to bring back the same peak floor for the Snowball as well. While I head through the airlock, don't forget to drop a sub if you enjoyed the base. You can see in this first window room, we have a turret, which guards the front door airlock, and also the drop down from the roof, which we'll head up to right now. You can use these windows to both peek out and down into your roof floor, and upstairs on the top you have so much room to expand or add in extra windows as you see fit. Heading back downstairs, our peak floor wraps around with these double doors, so you have tons of room for accessibility on every side. These head glitch peaks give you great visibility for any medium to long range fights, and the close range fights have a separate peak, which I'll show you in just a second. Now on both sides of the base we have a drop down to get to the main living area on the second floor. Now in the drop downs on either side you have an auto turret hidden behind this double door. Once the doors are open, they offer an amazing patrico peek to any close range angle on your base. Then we can drop down into the second floor and the main living area. The opposite side is an exact replica of the one we just jumped down, with a second loop room and more patrico peek angles up in the drop down chute. Finally, behind our center double door, we have a couple more large boxes on top of this ramp, and then our bunker. To continue, we'll spawn downstairs in one of our 4 sleeping bags, and down here you can see just how spacious the core is, which gives you quite a bit of room, even if you have up to 4 people in here. Of course, when you respawn for the morning, you can just break out the twig at your feet, and then replace it with a staircase for the time being while you're using the base. And as you'll notice, there's 2 more loot rooms on either side of the staircase with 4 large boxes in each. And of course, replacing the bunker is super easy, and yes, this bunker even works on console Rust. Here you can see those 2 loot rooms on either side of the bunker. There's 4 boxes in each side. And as long as these are windowed off before you go offline, there's no risk of any Molotov damage sneaking through and breaking the twig. Now, even if you weren't planning on playing Rust today, let me teach you the simple starter for the Snowball, and you can use it in your next wipe. To start, we'll build in half of an egg core with the triangle right in the middle. And off of the center triangle, we'll place in a double door, and then surround everything with walls. While I add the roof pieces on top, head down to the comments and tell me what other bases or concepts you'd like to see in the future. I try to read all of you guys' feedback, and I try to implement it into my future builds as well. Now make sure you place your TC down on this left side like this, and don't forget to lock it. Hey, have you heard of War Thunder? If you haven't, let me tell you, War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, and it's available right now for free on PC, consoles, and mobile. Command over 2,000 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships, from biplanes of the 1920s to main battle tanks of today. Being a Rust player, I love that there's no simple hitboxes, and everything from engines, fuel tanks, and crew is susceptible to damage. With detailed vehicles plus super realistic graphics and sound effects, you can immerse yourself in the intense combat and feel right in control of the most powerful war machines. Check out War Thunder and join a community of over 70 million players in PvP battles today with an unmatched amount of high quality content to discover. Play it for free on PC, consoles, and mobile. You can sign up using my links in the pinned comment or description. If you're a new or returning PC or console player that hasn't played in at least 6 months, you'll get a massive bonus with premium vehicles, an exclusive vehicle decorator, Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and a 7-day premium account. Only available for a limited time. And now back to the video. Back on the outside of the base, we'll place a square foundation off our front door, followed by a raised triangle foundation off the back side of the square. Then place 2 triangle foundations on either side, finishing the egg core, and remove the middle square. Now because that raised foundation is weak to soft side picking, we're going to seal it off with half walls all the way around. Lastly, seal this room off with a double door frame on the left side and a wall on the right. Keep this other slot open, as it'll eventually just be the window to our loot rooms. Also, later in the video, we're going to pick out this square roof, so I'm only going to upgrade it to wood. Now, for some of the basic starter deployables, we'll head to the back side of this TC room and place in a shelf through the wall, and that'll just give us some extra room for boxes on the inside. And then we can go ahead and honeycomb that section as well, and make a furnace room out of the second triangle. All the rest of the deployables are completely up to you, so place them wherever you like, or you can follow this layout here. Next, off the 2 square foundations on the back side of the base, we're going to place down 3 triangle foundations, and you'll see this in the top left reference video if you need any help. Then on both sides, just build a simple jump up triangle right in the center like this. And you'll notice only on the back side of this drop down, I'm going to place in 2 half walls instead of full walls. Having those 2 half walls there will actually increase the raid cost by about 8 rockets once the base is finished, so don't skip out on those. Once the inner room is done, all that's left is to place doors and windows in all of the slots. Next, it's time to open up that drop down. Head downstairs in the base and we're going to start by picking out that wooden floor. The most efficient way to do this is with a machete, but you can use any tool. Or if you're impatient, you can just do this. To get up and down for now, we'll use a twig floor and a U-shaped staircase just like we saw in the intro. Then you can demolish the doors on either side and we're just going to seal off these rooms. Both of these sides will end up being 4-box loot rooms, so go ahead and place a shelf down on either side, and then you can throw down 4 large boxes. And once all the large boxes are placed, put down a window on either side to complete both loot rooms. Next on the list, let's do some metal upgrades to the main core. Basically on the bottom floor of the base, upgrade everything you can see from the outside, other than those 3 foundations on either side we used to jump up. And don't forget to do the floors inside as well. On the inside, upgrade everything to metal that you can see, other than any of the wall frames. With all those upgrades to metal, our base might look a little too appealing to raid, so we're going to add in some honeycomb. When you're ready, place in square roof pieces off of any square foundation, and in between the two you should notice a small triangle gap, which will fill in with a triangle roof. At this point in the build, the weakest part of the base is the backside of our TC loot room, so we'll seal this in with some triangle honeycomb, metal on the first layer, and stone around. And do the same thing for the other side jump up as well. You'll also want to seal in the last side of the base with the raised foundation, just so no one knows the layout of your design in the early stages. Next, we'll start working on the top part of the base, and this is going to start with the door path. You can see I'm over on the side of the base with no door, and this is where on the left side we're going to place in a triangle floor. This will just make the jump up a little easier, and I only upgrade this to wood. Then we're just going to extend the honeycomb up half a layer like this. Just a basic airlock on the right side, and the left can have really whatever you want. I like to place in a wall frame and a little floor on top for some extra storage. For the next step, just a quick note, you're going to need 42 high quality metal, and that's because you're going to upgrade all of these metal triangles around the bottoms of the loot rooms. It's very important that you upgrade all 6 of these triangles to HQM, and that's because there's a small weakness with this base that if you splash a rocket into the top wall and roof, you'll actually damage the floor beneath it as well. So to keep the raid cost at 30 rockets to the TC, these need to be upgraded, and then you can simply seal everything in with walls and 2 triangles on top. With those finished, we can build in the drop-down chutes and Petrico peaks to the second floor. If you don't have glass windows yet, wooden window bars will work just fine for now, but try to replace them when you get a chance. Repeat the same steps on the opposite side of the base. At this point, just like the first floor, we're going to upgrade the second floor all to metal. Start by doing anything you can see from the outside, and I like to save the drop-down sections for when I'm inside the base. In here, upgrade anything you see other than the stone wall frames and the stone jump-ups in your 2 drop-downs. It should look like this once complete, and you'll see I also filled in the 2 loot rooms with shelves and boxes on either side. Next, we have the roof floor. First, we need to add some stability to get our roof pieces for the peaks. So start by upgrading this middle triangle roof to metal, and this will allow you to place a raised triangle foundation like this. Adding in the petrichor peaks and turret slots next by placing 4 walls working their way up the drop-down chute on both sides. To fill in the empty section by your window, simply place in a triangle tile in every single slot, working its way from the top to the bottom of this room. Then simply place in a half wall at the bottom and a half wall at the top, and finally a wall frame right in the middle for your turret and your double door. What I love about these sections of the base is if a raider decides to splash out these walls, they're essentially opening themselves up to 2 turrets and also a peak from the inside. And now that these are finished, we have enough stability to continue on with the roof. Now for the actual roof access of the base, you're going to build it off of the front door section. So turn around and this will be the jump up. And don't worry about these little gaps we can see peeking down into our roof. These are an easy fix with the roof triangle. Now I'm going to show you how I like to place all of my deployables to keep things cheap and efficient around the base. In the peek down room, start by placing in wall frames and double doors off of every square. And also make sure these double doors swing inwards to the square, which essentially make them into an airlock to your drop downs. I like to use mixing tables and campfires to stand on when I'm using these small peaks. Also, feel free to place in a triangle planter or even more turrets on the upper sections of these drop downs. After filling all the frames with garage doors in your second floor, here's the general layout I like to go with. And for the first floor, do the same thing, upgrading all your double doors to garage, and then behind the window, instead of furnaces, place in a battery, and instead of your tier 1, replace it with your new workbench. Then here's all the HQM upgrades to do in the final version of the base. Feel free to work on these throughout the wipe as you progress and get more HQM. It's also very important that along with the window frames, you upgrade the first triangle tile shelf in these loot rooms to HQM as well. This also just keeps that raid cost up high if someone's blowing in with rockets. And lastly, for the HQM upgrades, and probably the most important, don't forget that raised triangle foundation. The turret placements are fairly simple. Essentially on both sides of the petrichor peak windows, you're going to place in a turret as far back as possible to avoid anyone spearing it out from underneath, and then a double door in front. And as you saw in the tour, one last turret I like to place is right above the airlock. This will nicely hold anyone coming in your front door and dropping down from the roof. Don't forget to place in embrasures on both these windows, and make sure it's on the inside of the glass window. You can remove these windows during the day, but I'd highly recommend placing them back before you go offline. And the final step to finish the exterior of the base is simply to upgrade the entire bottom floor, foundations included, to metal. And one last little thing, make sure you upgrade the triangle roof piece above every drop down as well. Now, commonly I get questions about how to set up the electricity, so here is the most efficient way to set up all 5 turrets that I used in this video. I'm going to assume you already know how to power the large battery, as that's pretty basic electricity. Essentially, you just need 5 electrical branches and a switch, and place them in this configuration somewhere in your core. We'll then configure the lower branch to 50, and we'll set all 4 of the top ones to 10. Now, starting at the top left branch, we're going to go from the power out to the power in of the branch next to it, and do this until you're at the very end. Then we're going to go from the power out of our switch to the power in of the top left electrical branch. Lastly, the power out from your bottom electrical branch to the power in of your switch, and then simply the power in from that branch to your battery. And lastly, to power up all your turrets, you'll see a bunch of empty slots on the top row of your electrical branches. Anything that's empty is going to be just directly connected to a turret. And what I love about this setup is it makes it super easy to keep adding on more turrets if you want to later. Just like that, flick the switch on and all 5 turrets have just enough power. And if you need to power anything else in the base, you have an open slot on your bottom branch with a free 50 electricity. And again, remember to download War Thunder for free on PC, consoles, and mobile using my links in the pinned comment and description. If you're a new or returning PC or console player that hasn't played in at least 6 months, you'll get a massive bonus pack with premium vehicles and an exclusive vehicle decorator. Thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video, and thank you for watching.